Good morning everyone, I am Lani Navarra and today we will discuss one of the literary pieces in Luzon. This piece is entitled New Yorker in Tondo. New Yorker in Tondo was written by Marcelino Agana Jr. He was a playwright in 1958 who wrote one of the Filipinos comedies that produced through all the years. And this piece of him, New Yorker in Tondo, was the most or well-known piece of him, for it present humors and irony that it features the reality life of a Filipino that had been living in a foreign countries for purpose of work or studies or any purposes, and then after a year, a month, a days, it happens when arriving in the Philippines, the urban changes happen. In this story, it shows a girl living in Tondo, a Binondo girl rather, and then she was studied in a foreign country, and after a year when she arrived in the Philippines, there are changes happen, and then it happens that she wanted also to practice what she was in that foreign countries in the place that she was already arrived here in the Philippines. So for more, let us discuss what is in the story. First, let us discuss the 5 characters in the story. The first character is Aling Atang, or shall we call Mrs. Mendoza. The second is Kikay, who wanted to call as Francesca. Next is Tonyo, Totoy, and Nena. Now, let us go to the summary of the story. The story starts with a Binondo girl named Kikay who was studied abroad about beauty and hair design. After a year, she was arrived home. Everything about her was changed. She set up herself that she is not longer Kikay anymore. Instead, she is Francesca. She doesn't want to address her as Kikay. She adopted the foreign culture and wanted to practice it also where she lived. Even her mother, she wanted to do it also what she used to. A day that her friend Tonyo, Totoy, and Nana visit her. Her friends observe her behavior very different what she was before. The result of this is having misunderstanding. The story shows that a person was living in a foreign countries. After a year or a month or a days, there are differences happen. So the conflict of the play is that in the story New Yorker in Tondo, its conflict here is that Kikay, where she brought along her way what she adopted in New York or in that foreign country and practice it living in the Philippines, which is possible happen to other people who used also to live in the foreign countries, especially our beloved OFWs and sea workers or overseas workers rather. And several days or months, years that they had been in that country, there was adoption and requires that they start living the culture of that foreign countries and adapt it and had been specialized with it. The New Yorker in Tondo was a very great story by Marcelino Agana Jr. In this story, it really shows a wonderful wake-up call to other Filipinos who are currently living in another country. For in this story, it really shows about the patriotism or the love of the country, that no matter where we are, no matter where our footstep into another country like the United States, Hong Kong, Korea, America, or any countries, we should not forget that here in the Philippines, as a Filipino, we have also our cultures. We have also our mannerism, our use language. So do not forget when arriving, because some of the Filipinos, or yes, probably some of the Filipinos, not majority, when living in the other country for just weeks, months, years, or how many times they have been living, they are now changing when arriving in the Philippines. They forgot what are the cultures they used to be, what are the cultures they had in this country, because they prefer to follow the cultures where they was living in just year, months, weeks, or any longer. They prepare to use that cultures and practicing it living here in the country. So in this story, it shows, it awakens people that when arrive, it's not really a big deal, maybe, but when it comes to cultures, we all know that we are, when living in the Philippines, there are already start culture. I know some of it, it's using culture, it use cultures in the other country because it needs to, because it shows respect. We have different cultures, and because of that, when stepping to another country, we need to adapt that cultures in order to show respect. But do not forget, when arriving in the Philippines, you have your own culture. We have our own culture. Do not forget, because in just one step in that country, you forgot all what you was where you was here in the Philippines. Because without the Philippines, without the place that you are living, there's no you. There's no person like you having that confidence to go fly over overseas. So in this piece of Marcelino Agana Jr., it really talks about when having things like this, when arriving or having some go to other foreign countries. I just wanted to show that, my fellow men, do not forget where you are and who you are. Just because you was in the other country, you have a different, brand new, you have the best version of yours right now. You were just in that country because you are having a purpose. But do not forget, when arriving home, there's no place like home. So to end this discussion, everyone, let us put in our minds, in ourselves, that no matter where we will having in our journey, when we step to another country, to another foreign country, do not forget where country you are, because it's our home. That's all. Thank you, and God bless.